Welcome to today's broadcast of North Sound Seawolves Soccer, presented by Brian Ford in Everett, where you can find the best deal on every car, every day. Hello, everybody. I'm Keith Neely, and alongside me, broadcast partner Nathan Murphy. We're at Edmond Stadium, the district stadium here at Edmonds, Washington. Today's matchup, the Vancouver Whitecaps against your Seawolves FC. And Nathan, these two teams have already locked horns once this season. The outcome not necessarily what the Seawolves would have enjoyed, but it sets up a very nice matchup today up in Vancouver, a 5-1 defeat, and it came on the end of a back-to-back.
That's right. The Seawolves had a really valiant effort the day before on Vancouver Island to come back and get a 2-2 draw, the only point actually they've gotten so far this season, but at the time it was just their second game, a huge point, and they turned around and they just didn't have the energy to keep up in a second half, playing a man down after Victor Vasquez was sent off just after halftime.
Having talked earlier in the day to head coach Ed Moore, he thought they were actually in that game early. It was a 1-0 score right before the half. The Seawolves able to muster a very good shot off the post, or off the crossbar rather. Keeper had misplayed it just a bit, and had it been on target, it was definitely going to be an even-Steven score heading into the locker room at the halftime. Rather, they go in down 1-0 at the half, and then turn around and back-to-back cautions. Vasquez is sent off, and it got kind of between the ears of the Seawolves players at that point in time, and it's tough to rally when you know you've got to play a full 45 with a man down.
You know, it's as much a psychological effect as anything when you're playing a man short. 10 versus 11 isn't nearly as bad as it might be in some other sports, you know, hockey power play. You're playing 4 skaters on 5, for example, but it really gets in the heads of teams. You don't see a team really that often lose a man with a significant amount of time left and come back and do something with that time. And games can turn on things like that. Just this last week against the Sounders under-23s, these guys had a chance to come away with a win. They had a scoreless match with a penalty kick on the plate just before halftime. That was missed. They had a couple other opportunities, and it just didn't work out for them. And you miss those opportunities, or you get a guy sent off the field, and all of a sudden you're feeling like it's a much bigger task than it is.
Head coach Ed Moore classified that as 3 points that vaporized in thin air. That Sounders matchup earlier in the week, one that would have vaulted them out of the cellar in the table. And let's talk about the table for just a moment, because it's significant if you're looking just at the win-losses. Of course, the Seawolves are 0-4 and won the one draw, the lone point at the bottom of the table. But you look ahead, you've got Crossfire, who just had a brilliant upset of the Portland Timbers earlier in the week. Pumas with 6 points. You, with a win here and as many home games as remain for the Seawolves, you've got a chance with a win tonight to vault yourself right out of the cellar, and with 2 back-to-back, now you're in the hunt.
A win gives you 4 points and puts you ahead of Washington, Crossfire, and within striking distance of Kitsap, excuse me. And with more than half the season remaining, and so many home games, like you mentioned, 5 games into the season, we've only played once at home so far, things can really open up for you if you get it started, and that's what the opportunity is here tonight. It's a challenge. This is a team that beat North Sound 5-1 when they met, as you mentioned. But if you come out, you get an early goal maybe, you change the flow of the game, all of a sudden the outlook on the season starts to be a lot different.
I want to remind you that North Sound Seawolves Soccer is sponsored by Brian Ford, located at 5200 Evergreen Way in Everett. Brian Ford offers the best deal on every car, every day. They have non-commissioned sales staff, and they're committed to providing you with a buying experience that cannot be matched. And that's backed by a 72-hour return policy. Brian Ford, easy, clear, one low price, and you can visit them online at brianford.com. It's just that easy. Again, here at Edmonds Stadium, the district stadium at Edmonds, Washington, the Vancouver Whitecaps coming in for game number 6 of the regular season here. And it's a matchup that the Seawolves desperately need a W to get those 3 points in their pockets and make the run up the table to the top 3 spots. And we spoke to both Ed Moore and the GM, Alex Silva, earlier in the day, and we asked if the goals had changed because they are at the bottom of the table.
And you know, you heard what you wanted to hear from coaches with a team like this. It's not like these guys are getting blown out game in and game out. They really came out and played a great second half against Portland here 3 weeks ago. They could have had a draw in that game. They should have had a win against the Sounders under 23s this week. You look at this team and you say they're just this close. And the coach's attitude reflects that. Their goals haven't changed. They want to make the playoffs. They think this team can make the playoffs. And they think that today can be a start of a run toward that.
We talked also about mistakes and the fact that 90 minutes means 90 minutes. You can't take a timeout for 10 seconds, 10 minutes, 2 minutes. Because if you make the mistake, you don't draw a matchup that you need to do, you don't mark a player in the area, suddenly the ball's in the back of the net, and you've got to go in and play down a goal, and that's obviously much harder to play when you're at a draw.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago in the home opener here against Portland, it can be as simple as a slip. Nick Hamer falls down, the ball ends up in the back of the net. The first goal happened, okay, you can recover from one goal. We missed a man in the box, he wasn't marked. Okay, those things happen. The second one kills you. And it's as simple as a slip. He slips and falls, and that game, which is it's a draw otherwise. So it's a disappointment. But those points are there. They really are there. And we'll say it again. I've said it already. This is a huge opportunity for these guys tonight. And one thing that I'll mention, you don't hear this often from a team that got beaten 5-1 the last time they met. These guys are looking forward to this game. They like this style of play. Vancouver's got kind of a different style than you've seen with Portland or the Sounders. They're going to run for 90 minutes instead of trying to get a goal and sit back. These guys are going to push the possession up the wings. They're going to run at you for 90 minutes, and the game's going to be wide open.
And that's fun soccer. It's fun for the viewers to watch, and we're glad that you are here with us and watching this contest on USLNation.com. We hope you'll with us on all the home games that the Seawolves will present for you. We are going to bringing them all live every single way through the playoffs, and it's a fun way to watch soccer and watch these kids develop. And we still have a lot of development to talk about because some of these kids are still in the shuffle. There's a number of players that have come and gone in the recent weeks. That is going to continue for the Seawolves.
You know, roster changes are a normal thing in the Premier Development League. It's just kind of part of the business. Victor Vasquez, who we mentioned was sent off in the match a couple of weeks ago. He's not with the team any longer. Unfortunately, some family health issues that he has to go and deal with, but he's no longer with the Seawolves. A new player who's joining the club for the first time tonight, Danny Gavin, University of Washington freshman this fall. He hasn't played for them yet, but he played his academy soccer in Arizona with the Real Salt Lake, Arizona club with their academy program. So a big opportunity for him tonight. He's in the starting 11, and we'll see what he brings to the table for the Seawolves.
Let's talk about the starting 11 for both squads while we have it. It is brought to you by Waterfront Coffee. And Waterfront Coffee is conveniently located at 101 Main Street next to the Edmonds Ferry Terminal and Brackett's Landing Beach. Waterfront Coffee Company features Italian-style coffee and pastries and local organic lunch items including panini, soup, pierogi, plus everyone's favorite Snoqualmie ice cream. You can visit them online, waterfrontcoffeeco.com, waterfrontcoffeeco.com, or just make the trip down there by the ferry dock at Edmonds. That's the best place to get everything you need. Just join them in person. So in the 18 tonight for the Vancouver Whitecaps, at keeper Simon Thomas, defender James Fahrenhorst, Derek Bassi, Adam Clement, and Michael Winter. In the forward positions, they run the three midfielders. That would be Harry Locken, as I go down my list, Aminu Abdallah, and Marco Vizentine. And in the forwards, three forwards, although, as you mentioned earlier when talking to the coaches, that it's almost more of an attacking midfielder than a forward, is Yasin Essa. You've got Cousins also at the forward, Niall Cousins, and Cam Hundall rounding out the forwards and the 11 for the Vancouver Whitecaps. And for your North Sound Seawolves FC, familiar person in goal tonight, Ryan Herman, will be the goalkeeper. At defender, Devin Thomas, Renato Bandera, Andres Suazo, and Matt Eronimo. At the midfield, we've got Nick Hamer, Zach Hamer, the Hamer brothers, who've had very good success for the Seawolves. A couple of assists and a goal scored out of the midfield by the Hamer brothers. You've also got the newcomer Danny Gavin that you just mentioned. And we also then move to the forward positions. Zachary Hammond is up front. You also have Braxton Griffin, who has yet to score. Big body, and we expected big things out of Griffin early. Have not quite seen it. He's had a lot of chances. It'd be nice to have a goal out of Griffin. And then rounding out the forward spot is, who did I miss here? Ballou, that's correct. Brady Ballou, the forward out of Seattle University, a 5'11", 165-pounder. So certainly decent size at your striker spots. But we haven't seen a lot of striking yet. They've had good chances, but only 4 goals mustered so far on the season.
You know, a lot of opportunities going missed. We talked about the missed penalty against the Seattle Sounders under 23s this week. You just can't miss opportunities like that. A couple other crosses that weren't converted, missed shots. These guys have had their chances, and they will continue to have their chances, and hopefully they'll put a few more of them in the back of the net. You mentioned Braxton. Big body. He's done really well at possessing the ball and at controlling the ball, but he hasn't done really well at turning to goal yet, and I really hope he can use the slightly different formation they're going with tonight, a couple more people up front. Particularly, I think he'll work well with Brady Ballou, who's a really quick guy.
And the fact that it's going to be a much more open game, that at least what is talked about on the coaching circles, the fact that these teams both like to be very possession-oriented. They're not physical players. They like to get out and run. They run the edges well on the touch lines, and they're much more possession versus just flat-out blow it by you or knock you down kind of players. It'll be nice to see how much space that the Seawolves can create, especially in the forward third, and create those chances that have been somewhat lacking, at least in volumes, in the first 5 ball games.
On the other side of the ball, though, this Vancouver team is going to possess the ball until you take it from them. They're not going to take a lot of chances and turn it over in the midfield or even in the offensive third. We were talking to Coach Rios, the assistant coach, and the owner of the club, and he was talking about a team in Vancouver that's going to push the ball on one side and possess it on the left wing until you make it so they can't possess it on the left wing anymore, and then they'll switch the field and try the same thing on the right. It's going to be a little bit different challenge for the midfield for the Seawolves and for the defense to try and close down that space and see if they can take the ball rather than just waiting for it to come to them in the defensive third.
The march out is in progress, and we're actually announcing the starting 11 for both squads now here at Edmonds District Stadium. A rather nice evening for soccer, not necessarily for the fans in the stands. A little bit cool for a June evening, a 7:30 first kick. And the players, boy, they like to have a little bit of this cool weather when they're out there for 90 minutes. But it'll be interesting to see how the wind, which has started to pick up going from our right to our left, how that affects keepers. Of course, you talk about the one thing that really, in the environment, that can affect a keeper, and they'll tell you over and over again that you get the wind up,
you bet,
it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So that could play a factor in tonight's ball game. It remains to be seen. And now we have a brief timeout for the national anthem. We'll take a break, and we hope you will too. Getting ready to get that first kick underway here at Edmonds District Stadium between the Vancouver Whitecaps and the North Sound Seawolves FC. The handshake's taking place at midfield. And we'd like to remind you that North Sound Seawolves Soccer is presented by the My Neighborhood News Network, South Snohomish County's online gathering place. Visit My Edmonds News, MLT News, and LinwoodToday.com for news, sports, and events about your community, and see what your neighbors are talking about. And Nathan, it's been a short season so far, and but some players and some good things have happened with the Seawolves. Let's start with your players to watch, starting with the North Sound.
Well, it's going to be interesting. The Hamer brothers, Nick has moved from his defender role up into the midfield, partnered with his brother Zach. They've got some chemistry. They scored a goal where one of them scored the goal and the other had the assist a couple of weeks ago.
That's always got to be a thrill.
It does, to score a goal with your brother like that. So it'd be interesting to see what they can do working together in the midfield. And then the Frenchman, Jordan Idoud, newly arrived here in North Sound. He is from Valparaiso, and he has had a big impact there, but he's not in the 11 tonight. I don't know if that's a travel thing, but it's going to be interesting to see what impact he can have if he comes on. For Vancouver, Nail Cousins, 5 goals in their 6 matches. Clearly an impactful player in the top there for them. And then Derek Bossy, the defender, he's got 3 cautions already. A physical player on the back line. We'll see how he interacts with the forwards for the Seawolves.
We're underway here at Edmonds Stadium. A nice interception to start things off. And Edmonds Stadium, not quite as full as it was the first game, but the night game on a Friday, sometimes it makes it tough to get the people out to the stadium, but they're certainly filling up the right-hand side in front of us here, and people are still coming in to the stadium. Here's a ball that will be kicked out for a corner kick, the first one for Vancouver on the evening.
Nice early run there from Vizentine to get open. Didn't quite get to the ball, but forced the corner.
And now goalkeeper Ryan Herman will have to direct traffic and get things set up for his defense here in defense of this corner. Again, a very free-flowing game is what is expected today. And already we've had 2 trips up and down the field without much in the way of a legitimate chance. But things are very early, only a minute gone by now in the ball game. There is a throw-in after the miss on the corner. And now it'll go into the far touchline, being gathered in nicely. And here's an attempt on a forward ball into the area, and that will be defended well. And not taking any chances are the Seawolves defender, not worrying about trying to clear forward. Let's just get that thing out. If it's touch, if it's corner, it doesn't matter. Let's make sure we can set up our defense.
You know, I like that. We talked earlier about mistakes in the defense for the Seawolves, and I like this because you play the ball out into touch or even across the goal line for a corner, and it gives you a moment to settle yourself and set up. I think it's a good strategy.
Essa now will take the corner kick for the Seawolves. And here comes the marking in the box. Not a very nice corner. If I think he missed it, you could see the disgust on his face as he walks out of the corner area. But now a nice through ball. Is
Offside.
An offsides? Yes. The flag goes up. That one not hard to call at all. Had 2 men in advance of the defense, and I think you had everybody in the stands calling that same offsides call.
That was the defender Bossy stepping up off of the corner. He had an opportunity, he thought, but he went a little bit too far, and he moved ahead of the offside line before the ball was played. Just a little bit early.
And now Herman with the chance to get things down and set up the attack for the Seawolves. In it goes. And quickly stolen away by the defense of the Vancouver Whitecaps. Now they'll try to go forward. Intercepted once again. And right to Hamer, Nick Hamer, who miffs it just a little bit. And now a lot of chances being played on that right-hand side. There's a chance at the kick for the goal, and it is wide off a Vancouver Whitecap defender.
I like the energy early here from North Sound. They're chasing these balls deep into the Vancouver end. You can see they want this one. I like it.
Thomas, the keeper, wearing big number 1, will boot that thing down about 50 yards and right to the Seawolves. And that will be out of the far touchline. played well there, finally stolen, and here come the Vancouver Whitecaps. Although the defense in transition much better than we saw in the very first matchup that we had at Edmond Stadium.
Nice sliding play there to put the ball into touch. Well done.
Not getting beat. Defense very good at marking the one or two that they know they have to before someone will break away. And now a long kick should be an easy one. And it is for Ryan Herman, the keeper. And everybody will retreat quickly up on the ball, attacking very well up the near side. And a throw-in.
I mentioned Brady Ballou's speed earlier. I think that's going to have an impact tonight. I don't see... We've only watched him already for the 4 minutes, but I think there's a lot of physicality in the back line for the Whitecaps, but I don't see as much speed. I hope Brady can exploit that tonight.
Griffin with the nice little pass underneath. Ballou tries to make the left-footed attack, and it goes right to the keeper, and now a back pass. And the defense gets set up for the North Sound Seawolves into the forward third, and quickly up on it is Essa. Essa, a very speedy player, although misplays that just a little bit. He's had a little mistakes, but you can tell he's aggressive, and that aggression, I think, will certainly play dividends in over the course of 90 minutes. And it goes. Seawolves with possession now, and it will be on the far touchline. It will be a throw-in. They say off the Seawolves, and I'm not entirely sure I agree with that call.
I'm going to be honest, I don't have a great look at that from up here. The way the sun is right now, I can't really see the touchline over there. I'm going to go with the referee on that one.
Always a smart choice because we don't have a choice, Nathan.
Good point.
And now in it goes. Seawolves on the attack. This is Hammer, Zach Hammer, and maybe dribbling just a little bit too long.
But we were talking earlier about Braxton Griffin's ability to turn, and that was a really nice touch onto the feet of Hamer. I'd like to see more of that.
And as Hamer would have gotten the through ball, Zach was certainly running into the area, and a little cross, had he been able to beat the double team, would have given him a shot.
He was running through. He just couldn't quite control the ball on his feet like he wanted to. A step too far, and it was not quite enough.
Essa now to Locken. On the far touch it goes. They'll back pass now. Abdallah. He'll turn. Lanky kid. Plays the ball very well and is one of those guys that I think you're going to see a lot in the air, won by Abdallah. Certainly can get up in the air. We've seen that early. And now Essa trying to get the through pass. It will not go.
A lot of speed on that right wing, though.
That's true. Locken is also speedy. A little kick into the keeper. Looked a little dangerous there. They were able to get a couple men forward and into the area.
Yeah, dangerous little through ball played by Cousins. Hundle had an opportunity. It was a little bit behind him. He tried to flick it over his head, but he flicked it over the goal line instead. 6
minutes gone by now here in the first half. Vancouver Whitecaps and the North Sound Seawolves at Edmond Stadium. Thanks for being with us. Keith Neely and Nathan Murphy on the drive now. Hundal has it. He'll kick it out wide. That is Essa. Essa is almost always involved in this offense. He is the machine that the balls seem to go through on the attack.
His speed and his footwork are going to be really important for the Whitecaps in attack here, but he has to get the ball. He's not going to bring it up there himself. Speed doesn't do that alone.
And now over the near touchline and out of play it goes.
Off of a Whitecap, throw in for Ballou.
Devin Thomas bringing the ball up almost into the forward third himself, a defender getting himself into some position to at least make a play in the attacking third.
Braxton Griffin, Brady Ballou over there on the right wing, interacting a little bit, earning it another throw-in. Ballou looks like he's going to try and throw this into the box.
And there it is. Braxton got a header on it, and it will be out. Someone is calling for a handball.
Well, Ballou thought he got pushed in the back.
Clement now will kick it clear. And now into the center, trying to get a little bit of space. There it is. Braxton back out to the right wing, and there's a cross, and it is headed, but a very nice attempt early on now with only in the 8th minute. And this North Sound Seawolves showing a lot of life on the offense.
That was a really nice cross from Ballou. Hammond did a nice job to try and climb that ladder. Fahrenhorst was there. He had to climb the ladder too, and he managed to nod it away from the goal, and it will be the first corner of the match for the Seawolves.
2 opportunities early, and here comes a corner for the third. Everybody choosing their marks. There's the header into the box. Quickly a dive to the right by the keeper Thomas, and clearing out now. Everybody heading back on defense for the Seawolves.
Just the wrong place at the wrong time there for Gavin. The header came from Hamer, and it hit Gavin's leg. Nothing you can do. I'm sorry, that was Thomas, not Gavin.
But you have to like the 3 attempts in under a minute, and I have to say, in the one game that you and I have been able to see and call, the season opener right here at Edmonds Stadium, three legitimate opportunities on the offensive side inside a minute was something we did not witness in that ball game.
I like the pressure here from the Seawolves. They're playing like they did during the
cross into the area, knocked away, and that will be a corner kick for the Seawolves.
They're playing like they were playing during the 15 minutes or so in the first half. They didn't get a goal in the first half of that match, but they had a lot of pressure. They're taking this game to the Whitecaps, and that's what they have to do to counter this wide-open style. We were talking about space earlier in the match, and they haven't been giving the Whitecaps a lot of it.
Brady Ballou will set up the corner kick for the Seawolves. 0-0 in the 10th minute. We're just underway. Here comes the right-footed kick. It is not a very good corner, but still on the attack. Back to Ballou. He'll try to kick it down, being guarded underneath by Hundal. And out of bounds it goes. It will be a throw-in on the near touchline.
The forward, Hundal, playing very deep there, but made a nice play to force the ball out into touch.
And frankly, if Hundal is not there, Blue has a great opportunity. And there is another one. Back at it now, cleared, and that will go out of play. Sammy the Seawolf calling for it.
Vancouver looking a little frantic on defense here early.
They don't look comfortable.
No, they don't.
Of course, when you're on the road, especially in a stadium that you're not very used to, you're going to be uncomfortable, but you would think in 10 minutes of time should be enough to get the butterflies out and at least settle into some sort of defense.
I wonder how much of it has to do with the surface. I know these guys play their home matches at UBC, which is a natural grass surface, I believe, and this may be the first time they've played on a field like this. I know they have it at the BC Place for the senior Whitecaps, but none of these guys have played a match at that level.
Physical play underneath now, and finally the interception is made for the Seawolves. They'll try to get it up front to Griffin, who makes a great play on the ball. He gets it forward. He's got 2 men attacking, but right there is the keeper, Thomas, and the threat is thwarted. But the Seawolves showing mighty life in a big way on offense right here. Great to see.
I like the formation that they're using with the 3 forwards here. We thought that Braxton was kind of on an island last time. He's got a lot more help so far today.
Another Vancouver Whitecap mistake on defense. Here come the Seawolves. It'll go to Ballou. He'll cross up, gets it knocked away for a moment, and out it goes on the near touch for a throw-in. Bandera will bring it forward to Hamer. Now kick down, trying to find Ballou underneath. Excuse me, that is Griffin. And now knocked away in midfield. A bit of a tussle for the ball.
Nice little tug there by Bandera. Quick kick.
Well called, and they've got some moves underneath. Hundal has a chance, and a foul called. It will be a set piece now for the Vancouver Whitecaps.
You know, Bandera, he just ran into his man there about 15, 18, 20 yards from goal. He didn't mean to. He didn't think it was a foul, but frankly, I think he's lucky not to get a caution there with the attack underway.
Locken will take the free kick just outside the area, about 6 paces outside the area. And they will set up what looks to be a 5-man wall now. A 4-man wall for the North Sound.
Ben Oakley, your referee today, setting the wall. His assistants Tony Johnson and Chris Danforth.
And of course Ryan Herman, the Washington keeper, University of Washington, a Husky, setting up the defense. And that will go over the bar, but a good kick, a strong kick off the leg of Locken.
You just can't give up those opportunities and expect to get away with it too often. As I said, Bandera didn't mean to. The Vancouver player kind of slowed up and was looking for options. Bandera just bundled right into the back of him. And like I said, I think he's lucky not to get a caution on that play.
Possession very much in favor of the Seawolves so far in the 13th minute.
And maybe more important than that, we talked about the Vancouver defense. On the other end of the field, the North Sound defense looks very settled today.
Nice slide tackle underneath. And that will stop the attack of the Seawolves. And right now it's taken every bit of defense that the Whitecaps can muster to slow down the attack of North Sound. Here comes an attack by Locken, who just had the ball on that set piece. Now on the far side it goes to Essa. Essa, the speedster, now crosses over. He has a man in the area, and great defense underneath for North Sound to kick it clear.
Bandera making a nice play to step into that pass and clear danger.
Out of the far touchline, it will remain a Vancouver throw in. And they just seem scattered. It just doesn't feel comfortable. Still does not feel comfortable, whether it's on the offensive side or the defense for the Whitecaps right now.
An interesting look from them to start this game. This is not a team that you would say had come out and scored 5 goals against the Seawolves the last time they met. Very different tenor to this game so far. But from what I understand, the first half of the first game between these two clubs was very much like this. Not a lot of scoring until the second half after Vasquez was sent off in the 61st.
We've got a foul, and North Sound will start the offensive attack here from just before the midfield stripe. 1-0 the score in the first meeting prior to the half. And right now, no score, 0-0 in the 15th minute. But the attempts on goal have certainly been very sound for the Seawolves. They have definitely had many more scoring opportunities than the Whitecaps so far. Of course, I say something and it goes into the attacking third for the Whitecaps.
Keith, just as we're talking about how the possession was favoring North Sound and the game was a little more open, it's settled down a little bit, and now, of course, as I say that, we have an opportunity starting the other way, but Vancouver looks to be settling into this match a little bit.
The counterattack started by Griffin, and now it'll go, Ballou will try to challenge, stolen away. And there goes Bandera. Bandera has a man in the area and held up underneath. Griffin wants the call and won't get it. That's the second time the big body has been grabbed and held stone-like. All right, inside the area. And you get him clear, you got another opportunity.
It's an interesting play there. Fahrenhorst didn't really do anything. He just ran slower. Brady tried to get around him. He was just in the way. I don't think that's a foul, but Brady needs to be stronger than that. He's a big guy. He needs to play stronger than that.
Or swim through. Certainly ways to get around, and you've got to make sure that the player who is trying to get you the ball has a clear view.
And as a striker, if you're looking to win a foul in that circumstance, you have to do something and force him to hold you, to trip you, to grab you. If you just run into him, you're not going to get that call.
Griffin with the header, knocks it out of the far touchline, and they Vancouver Whitecaps now with the throw-in. Huddled together on the far sideline due to all the turnover. Not a lot of turnover, but certainly a couple of players on both squads having some exodus. Kind of thin as far as the substitutes on the North Sound bench.
Only 16 in the game day roster today. 18, of course, are permitted. They're a couple short. Only 4 field substitutes for them.
Here comes an advantage. A 3-2 possession is into the area. Here comes the shot. Knocked clear by the North Sound defense.
Right place, right time for Dylan Thomas. He blocked his own man's shot earlier in the game. This time he got in the way of the Whitecaps shot.
Thomas just happened to be turning and trying to get some space cleared so that he could get back and play defense, and they ran right up his back. We'll take it.
Nice move by Cousins to put the ball there, though.
Here's a shot on goal, well into the clear area behind the net.
Difficult shot for Abdullah there. He's one of the 2, Keith, that are called down today from the MLS Whitecaps, the senior club. This Whitecaps under-23 side, unlike the Seawolves, this is actually a professional team, or some of the players are. USL Pro is the name of the program. NCAA rules allow athletes like Ryan Herman, who just sent the ball along, to play against professionals, but they can't team up with professionals. So in this league, teams have to choose which route they're going to take. The Seawolves, an amateur side. Vancouver is not.
Many more, such as the Pumas, are another one of those professional squads in this division. And we talked a little bit about with Alex, the owner and assistant coach, about the possibility in the future of making the entire PDL a professional.
You know, it's an interesting thing because there needs to be some place for these college kids to get this experience.
Great move on the right-hand side. Played nicely there. and knocked away. Nick Hamer had the opportunity, wrapped the ball around, and we had a clear spot for a moment. Then the clamp came.
A lot of handsy work back there by Vancouver.
And now the counter, a fast-moving counter, gets the ball all the way up before it's not clear. And another Vancouver throw-in on the far touchline.
You got to feel like if the Whitecaps keep this up, eventually one of the Seawolves is going to go down in a place that looks like a foul. Keep pushing these things, and good things will happen.
Great defense on that far side by Suazo. And now that'll not clear. A bit of a communications problem over there. Now a long cross on the near side. Vancouver moving some people on the area. There's the cross. It is not going to be successful, and now clearing it. Suazo will bring it forward and out of bounds.
A nice job there by Bandera to chase, but he almost got beat there for a split second. The offensive player, I didn't see who had the ball, just couldn't get the shot off quickly enough.
Locken now goes into Abdallah. Quickly turning on it. Hundal, no, that's Byzantine. Byzantine has a nice opportunity and a bit of good goalkeeping also.
Great distribution here up to Baloo.
Here's the lead pass a little bit in advance of the chasing Griffin, who had another good look on a through ball in advance of the attack.
And he just couldn't get around Bossy.
Just missed it, and Bossy is doing a fabulous job of just being annoying.
Great positional awareness, too, just having his body in the right place. You're entitled to a spot on the field as a defender, and as long as you don't go out of your way to impede somebody stepping into his path, you've got a right to stay there, and he's done a very nice job of that.
Cousins now will knock the ball clear. And back into the awaiting arms. Again, another one of those communications breakdowns for the North Sound Seawolves. They're going to have to be very careful on defense now. Here comes the ball on the cross, is well wide, and it will go, looks like out of the near touchline for a throw-in, but another opportunity based on a miscue and a miscommunication by the Seawolves defense.
And you don't get the feeling that Vancouver's going to let the Seawolves get away with too many of these.
Kind of half-hearted attempt at a shot by Cousins. He had to make quick footwork to try to get the shot off. He had a bit of daylight, had the space he needed, but was just underkicked.
20 minutes gone here in the match. One thing we were talking about pregame was defensive mistakes. There have been a few miscues, communication errors, as you were mentioning, in the midfield, but I really like the marking I'm seeing from the back line tonight. It's a lot crisper. You're seeing crosses that aren't getting heads on them because the marking is that much better.
Now Vancouver will bring it in 0-0. Here in the 22nd minute, just starting the 22nd minute at Edmond's District Stadium. The Vancouver Whitecaps now on the attack. In defense, the North Sound Seawolves. There's another left-footed attack by Essa. And it is right into the defense and not clear.
It looked to me like that went off his own man.
It might have. Essa definitely likes to bring the ball up that right side, a very, very quick right side, and now an offsides call.
That's one of those slow developing plays. The man who was whistled for it, that's Byzantine, had been in an offside position for a long time. The ball had been played, it bounced around a little bit, never touched another Whitecap. So he's offside.
And now the attack for the North Sound Seawolves. Haven't seen one in a little while. It's gotten a bit of a drought, even on the counters. Have been a little quiet. See if maybe fatigue or maybe that early burst of speed has slowed things down. There's a man to the deck. That would be Griffin. No call. They say play on.
And I'll tell you something from up here. I think that was a foul. The referee behind the play didn't get a chance to see the extended arms. The assistant it's a little too far to make that call. I think Vancouver's a little lucky on this one, and now they've got a counter.
Essa is attacking on the counter with the right foot. He has two men in the area now. A nice back pass, and that one is wide on the shot. It will go out for a goal kick.
Going back to the previous play, Baloo had a nice little steal. He had an opportunity where he stepped into a Vancouver miscue for once, miscommunication. And the defender, Bossy, just kind of gave him a little two hands in the back. It wasn't vicious, but Baloo, who was trying to step through, couldn't keep his balance. Referee didn't have a whistle, and it goes wanting again.
Scores, stats, news, and more exclusively on USLPDL.com. Get a lot more than just your scores and stats. Of course, if you found us here, you've got a lot more information at your fingertips. Just continue on there at uslpdl.com for everything USL Soccer. We're glad you're aboard. Keith Neely and Nathan Murphy with you. We're in the 24th minute here, and we've got an attack. Quickly, Hundell now will bring it up, has a cross, a nice diving play. It goes wide right, but Hundell had a beautiful opportunity there. One-on-one, plenty of space, just missed.
You know, Hamer had his post covered there, though. I mean, he didn't touch this ball that was going wide, but he was down with his arm. His post covered. I don't think that would have gone in had it been on frame. Still a dangerous attack. You can't allow that to happen. And
goalkeeper Ryan Herman certainly had the far post covered, just outside the outstretched hands of the goalkeeper.
Neither goalkeeper really challenged thus far.
No, and we kind of expected a wide open game. I think that's what we've been given. There certainly has been plenty of opportunities. The Seawolves had many opportunities. I counted 5 shots, at least toward the goal, not necessarily on goal. But 5 shots is a very good number in 10 minutes or so of play early. And now the Vancouver Whitecaps getting the benefit of much more of the offense. There is a slip by Hundell, and Seawolves will come away with it, and stolen right back. It's Abdallah.
Nice play there by Blue to try and move the ball up, but he couldn't hang on to it.
Gavin now will turn it into a bit of an offensive side. Great back pass, and now the possession will begin for North Sound.
Both teams have settled into this match a little bit. The openness is still there, but I think we're seeing a lot more deliberate football from both teams now, and we have a foul.
And the foul was kind of one of those slow-developing fouls that you mentioned earlier. I think everybody saw it, and it just continued. The grab, the hold, just continued to make itself known, and you had to call it at some point in time.
Well, the referee has that moment to stop and see what develops, 2 or 3 seconds to decide if there's an advantage that could be played, and then has the option to bring it back to the foul if the advantage doesn't develop.
Hammond tried to put it in toward Griffin, who was running into the area, but nice keeping by Thomas. And this game may come down to really what keeper is on his toes.
Or which one makes a mistake.
Which one, absolutely.
Good crisp goalkeeping on both sides so far, though.
And the pass is very crisp so far. Up the left-hand side it goes on the far side. Seawolves now will try to get into the area and make some room, and stolen away this time by Fahrenhorst.
Suazo, the defender, really comfortable out on that left wing there. He made a run over on that side that led to the goal in the Portland game a few weeks ago. Nice effort from him here, earns a throw in. And folks, we'll take this opportunity to remind you that North Sound Seawolves Soccer is brought to you by My Neighborhood News, South Snohomish County's online gathering place. Visit My Edmonds News, MLT News, and LinwoodToday.com for news, sports, and events. As a shot comes in, and it's a goal! A counterattack developing quickly for Vancouver, and Hundell slides it just inside the post. We talked about goalkeeping mistakes, Keith, and there it is.
And you finally get a man clear who has an opportunity, and it's one really clean shot is sometimes all it takes. And unfortunately, it came at the expense of Ryan Herman. His 12th goal given up in defense so far this season. And now you've got to make good on your attacks on the other end.
And this was very similar to the play a few minutes ago where Abdallah was up the wing. The same shot sliding across the way, the same attempt by Herman. This time he just couldn't quite get down quickly enough. The ball slides just inside that post. And once again, the Seawolves trail in the first half.
1-0 at that goal coming in the 27th minute. And now the Seawolves will have to really push things forward. There's an attempt, and it is stolen away very expertly.
You know, one thing I think the Seawolves need to do here, against Portland in this first half, especially of that match, they were trying to play a lot of long ball. And the success they were finding here early on was with the more controlled passing, finding that through ball. Composure is going to be a big question for this team, if they can keep that together, or if they start trying to rush and end up playing those long balls that don't do much of anything.
Essa tried to do a little bit too much with it. He had 2 men in the area, and it ends up getting stolen away nicely, this time by Suazo. And now the counter, Seawolves.
A lot of opportunities, as you mentioned, in the first 20 minutes. So they need to capitalize on one of these opportunities. If they go into halftime trailing by a goal, I think they're going to feel like they really let opportunities go.
Griffin has been really bodied up underneath. The man marking him, Bossy, doing a very nice job. And Griffin really can't do anything on his own accord with Bossy back there shadowing him every step of the way, and has a forearm in his back almost the entire time.
And only one whistle in his favor so far, too. He's got to be strong enough to play with that contact so that when he does go to the deck or get pulled back, it's that much more obvious. Abdallah
with the pass stolen away. Here comes Baloo. He's got some room to make something happen here. Crosses things over to Hammond. A bit of a miscue, and that could cost the Seawolves. It goes out of the far touchline, and Vancouver has to be breathing a sigh of relief now on that miscue.
Baloo tried to play that ball to Hammond, and it was a step behind him, but he had two better options in front of him, and he couldn't get it to Griffin. He couldn't get it to Nick Hamer, and he tried the third option, and he couldn't make that work either.
Nick Hamer goes all the way back on defense. Here's the cross. It goes out, and it will be a corner. And again, we talk about comfort level. It seems like the last 10 minutes rather, the comfort level or the momentum has been fully Vancouver.
I don't know if it was a travel thing. I don't know what the situation is, but the Whitecaps have really settled into this match in a way that they didn't in the first 15 minutes or so. They look composed. They look crisp on the ball. They look coordinated on attack, where they just kind of looked scattered for those first 10 or 15 minutes.
Here comes the punch into the area. It is out. It will be a goal kick.
Corner.
No, they say corner kick.
That came off of Bandera, I think.
And Essa has really struggled with his corners. He's put them in short. They've been shallow. He hasn't had a lot on them. That one a little better ball. And now Griffin will just send it clear. We've had 30 minutes gone by, the first 30 in the books, 1-0 Vancouver. That one coming in the 28th minute.
Scored by Hundal.
27th minute, rather. Hundal with it. And again, we spoke about wide open possessions. Vancouver still on the attack. Every chance they get, they're not going to be content with a 1-0 score.
With the lead even, you're not going to see this team settle down. They're going to continue to press it, and that means that there are going to continue to be opportunities for the Seawolves. What's going to be critical is if they can capitalize on one of those opportunities without themselves giving up another counterattack.
Griffin with the opportunity there one of the few times, and again, manhandled by Abdallah this time, and they have definitely written that down on the playbook, that they're going to make sure they know where Griffin is at all times. Here comes an opportunity into the area. As a man, a shot blocked away. Well, great defense.
Fantastic defensive play by Thomas. Right place, right time. Again, he just keeps getting in the way. That's what a defender should do.
Sometimes not even knowing it. I think that one went off the back of his head or shoulder blade.
Yeah, but that one more. The other one was on his back. That one was a lot more intentional as to where he was positioned, but he did turn his back so as not to get hit in the face by that shot.
Vancouver with a number of shots now on goal in the last 5 minutes. One of them was pay dirt, 1-0 Vancouver so far, and now we are almost in the 32nd minute.
Another opportunity here.
There's Griffin moving forward. If he can outrun his man, there's the shot. It will go off the foot of Bossy and out. It will be a corner kick. A great counter opportunity. Baloo was heading in. Hammond was there on the left-hand side. Griffin had plenty of open space.
But Griffin isn't a speedster. He's not going to be able to take that run all the way to goal. Bossy didn't really even have to work that hard to catch up with him. Griffin's a stand-up guy. He's going to try and hold up the ball and look for options. Baloo was the one who made that pass, but he's the one who maybe should have been making that run in that situation.
And now an opportunity sliced into the far side on the cross. No good. Now the ball headed clear. Again, the speedster, that's Essa. He'll try to get it forward to Cousins, and now knocked on a back kick to the keeper, Thomas.
Nice.
Excuse me, Herman.
Nice safe play. And
now we'll see what the surgical passing can get with the possession. They try to go with the home run ball. They have Griffin forward. Ballou is also there. So is Nick Hamer. And easily stolen away.
Braxton Griffin looks frustrated. He looks very frustrated out there. I wouldn't be surprised if, as we've seen before, he's replaced perhaps with the two-goal scorer Durant.
He's taken a lot of abuse.
He has.
And after a while, that's going to grind on you. And I think that's exactly the intent of the defense of the Vancouver Whitecaps at this point.
And I think it's cumulative frustration, too. He's played 5 matches now, plus a third. He hasn't found the back of the net. I don't think he has an assist to this point. That's got to be frustrating for a guy who thought he was going to factor a lot more into this offense. And even if he's not the one getting the goals, only 4 scored by the Seawolves side, that's got to be frustrating for a striker, too.
All it takes is one.
And
if you can get Griffin down, and certainly with the fast, wide-open play that Vancouver has allowed you at this point in time, you should be able to get a chance to find that back of the net. Here's Griffin now, headed over the top. Great defense by Bossy, who has been marking him one-on-one the entire time. And even as they go back with the foul call there, Bossy almost has his hand in Griffin's hip pocket.
You know, Griffin, if Griffin can recognize how much attention he's getting from Bossy, who is the best defender for this Whitecap side, they might be able to put that to use to create space for other people. I know it's not the role that Braxton wants to play, but exactly like he's doing now, he's getting out wide, and now he's got somebody else on him instead.
Ballou, on a set-piece play, tries to cross all the way to Griffin, who ran out of real estate, lost the header, and now a corner kick. It will be Nick Hamer with the attack. 35 minutes gone by here at Edmond's District Stadium. The Vancouver Whitecaps on top of the North Sound Seawolves, 1-0. Here's an opportunity. Goal! A perfect set piece off the foot of Nick Hamer, and Hammond puts it in off the rebound quickly. Thomas was there for the first initial stop, but only got one hand on it. It comes clear, and Hammond puts it home. You know,
that's what a goal scorer's got to do. Sometimes the ball falls to your feet, and that's exactly what you've got to do. You take those opportunities that come, and you bury them. Put it in the net. It's a tied game.
36th minute, the equalizer off the foot of Hammond. And we talk about turning things around, turning the tide, even if it's a player or it's your team. That has got to feel good for the Seawolves side to be able to get the first one, excuse me, especially in front of the home stand crowd. You hear it erupt. And that will provide some energy.
And Braxton Griffin, he's not going to go on the score sheet for this, but he gets a lot of credit for that goal because he won that corner kick. We were just talking about his positioning, and he swung out wide to try and find some space away from that central defender, Bossy, or to bring him with him. He went out there, he earns a corner kick, and it ends up in the goal.
And he brought 2 with him. And you talk about how much command that he has been given for placed in defense. And by able to take 2 marksmen away from the goal was a huge play and a large part of the way Hammond scored. There's a misstep, almost an over dribble off the foot of the Whitecaps, and now a throw-in.
Just touched out of play there by Winter.
And now the long high ball will be,
it was out of play before it was kicked.
So it will remain a Whitecaps throw-in in a very dangerous part of the field, and they can still attack right here, make things dangerous. Great defense. Nick Hamer will put it clear and allow the Seawolves an opportunity to reset.
We talked about the mindset for the Seawolves, and they got that goal that I thought would have an effect. What they need to do now is to not give up another quick goal. If they can take this into halftime tied, or even if they're able to get another goal and take the lead, but they, I think, really need to not trail going into halftime. Defensive focus here is important.
Nick Hamer and Abdallah muscling each other just a little bit. Now a free kick.
Not as much physical play in the midfield maybe as I expected, but certainly quite a bit on the defensive both ways, and a foul coming out now as one of the Seawolves defenders was knocked down.
Byzantine with the attempt, getting it into the area. A nice ball. And we'll see what the call is.
Not a foul. We're going to go back to the original free kick, I think.
Ben Oakley, the referee, directing traffic underneath, and says we will once again tee it up. And this will be Byzantine.
Confusing signal given by the referee. I thought he was going to award a free kick for Byzantine's little shove, but it wasn't to be.
And now, right now, the North Sound Seawolves trying everything they can to get the ball clear. Have done a nice job by bringing Nick Hamer into defense. And he is taking it upon himself in the midfield right now to put this team on his shoulders and get that ball out of the danger area.
You can, from up here, you can see the fire in Nick Hamer's eyes right now. He's really invested in this game right now, and I like seeing that. He's been very effective in the midfield so far after being moved up from his defender spot.
Clement with the misplay, and here's an opportunity for the Seawolves. Now Griffin with it. He'll kick the ball on a cross, and it is headed away and clear.
A nice opportunity there, but Braxton just sent it a little high in the air. It floated on him a little bit, and the defender was able to get under it.
Here comes the counter. 4 men coming forward for Vancouver. A nice play, this time by Cousins. He'll get it clear on the right-hand side. It goes to Essa. Essa into the area and kick clear.
Guess who? Dylan Thomas.
And again, very nice transition defense by the Seawolves, something we haven't seen as of late. Somebody lit a fire under them.
You know, the goal was on a counter, and there was one other opportunity, the ball that just went outside Herman's right post. But aside from that, I've been very impressed with the effort in transition, and we've got a substitution here. Brady Ballou coming out of the match. I thought he'd been quite effective. I wonder if he's hurting. Looks like Durant's going to come in, I think.
So Durant will occupy that right wing spot in place of Brady Ballou.
I am incorrect. This is not David Durant. This is Don Dismuke. I saw a 9. I thought I saw a 19.
So we'll call Dismuke into play along the right-hand wing. And a great save there by Herman.
First substitution for either side.
Thomas has been effective in defense. Suazo has certainly been there. We've called Nick Hamer's name a lot coming out of that midfield to provide some defensive help.
I haven't seen as much interplay between the Hamer brothers, though, as I thought I might.
We haven't. And that's maybe something now, excuse me, with Ballou exiting the ball game, we may see a little more interaction in that midfield spot. Haven't called number 8's name very often in this match. Zach Hamer has been a little quiet, much more quiet than his brother Nick.
A foul earned here by Braxton Griffin, and this is exactly what I was talking about. You see on this play, he made an effort to go out and around. His jersey got held, and that makes that play a lot more visible. I like the response from Braxton right now.
Well, and the fact that Griffin is not showing his frustration in ways that will earn him fouls, but namely just getting a different attack position on the defender, not trying to go through him in this case, but go around him or at least create that space that makes the defense have to do something, not just stand there and make a play.
Right, and Bossy is going to stand there and make that play if you let him, and the key on offense is to show enough different looks that Vancouver can't just settle into one shape.
Dismuke with his first touch now goes out onto the near touch line, and Vancouver will have to pack it in. Dismuke now almost getting pulled to the ground, and that will elicit a response from the referee, a foul call.
That's a good play by Dismuke. He had a threatening position, no choice for the defender there. It's not heading toward goal. It's not an active attack, so it's just a foul. I don't think a yellow card is warranted there, but clearly a deliberate foul.
And now Bandera will attempt to put the ball in play. It's a very good set-piece opportunity here. Thomas, the keeper, directing traffic. There's the header. No, it's off and cleared very nicely by Winter.
Valiant effort there from Gavin. I really like what he did. He got the header on the ball, and he goes to ground. It wasn't a foul, but he goes to ground trying to get to it after it was blocked. After the goal, the Seawolves are coming out and playing like they want this game.
Here comes the counter. Nick Hamer now with it. We'll pass it on the right-hand side, just a bit wide. The interception is made, and the attack comes to a close.
Just a bit too far for Gavin there.
Cousins now with it. He'll dribble up with some speed on that right-hand side. Has a man running in toward the area, but Bandera is right there. He will clear it.
That speed of Essa continues to come into effect, though. Bandera didn't have an easy play to make there. He had to consider carefully what he was going to do with it. Made a good play.
Dismuke to the turf. And the pitch is a fast one tonight.
Lots of bouncing. Yeah.
The Seawolves now with only, pardon me,
only a couple minutes.
2 minutes remaining. Thank you for the pickup, Nathan. And now a foul called. And that's one of those that could have very easily gone either way, with both players trying to muster the muscle to keep the space and both heading to the turf.
Abdullah's the one who ends up on his back. He wins the foul on the free kick.
Now Abdullah with it will try to punch it in a little bit errant. That's a shot you probably don't need to take at this point in time.
It's the third time he's done that.
With 2 minutes remaining, you want to get those crisp passes. You had both Cousins and Essa on that right-hand side. Certainly an opportunity. But yet, winding up from deep is Abdallah, and it is an easy mark to haul in for Hermit. Now, Griffin will try to control with that strength that he possesses, and it is knocked away.
Another physical encounter there, hands on his shoulders, and we've got an opportunity.
Cousins now with it. He has a shot right into the breadbasket of Herman, who has to come out and make the play, and the big man now has to talk to his defense.
That's a present save from Ryan Herman. He just stands up on the post. The ball hits him in the face. A very important save, too.
And into the area on the cross. It is not good.
Into the box. The ball is cleared out and over the touchline by Bandera. It will be a throw-in for Abdullah. He tosses it into the area. Handled there by Cousins. Tries to turn two Seawolves on him. Nick Hamer with the ball. And he'll clear danger. Braxton Griffin with the ball near the midfield circle. But he can't hand on to it, and this is Locken. Locken drops the ball back.
Bossy with it. Excuse me, Bossy with it now. We'll get into that right-hand side where Essa is so effective with the speed. Underneath the Cousins. Now stolen away. Gavin once again. And now Suazo on the defense tries to make a stab at it with that right foot. It is across right to Herman on the near post. Makes the save once again, and he's been very active.
Strong defensive effort here in first half stoppage time. I mentioned how critical it would be to get this match into halftime tied, and they appear to have done it, as that's the whistle.
1-1. The score here after the first 45 are in the books at Edmond's District Stadium. The Vancouver Whitecaps and the North Sound Seawolves locking horns in the second battle between these two teams in the regular season. And it comes away with a even Steven score heading into the locker room after one period of play. And right now, what do you like so far, Nathan, on the Seawolves side of things? I have to say the short-up defense is the first thing that sticks out in my mind with these two squads.
You know, a really good defensive effort from the Seawolves in this first half. I like what they did as far as marking men on set pieces, on corners, on crosses. That was something that really stuck out to me in the Portland match that they weren't doing well, and I think they're doing it very well tonight. They've given up a few opportunities on the counter, but aside from the goal and then the one that just slipped outside the post, the defense has played, I think, very well.
27th minute, Cam Hundahl was able to get a nice left-footed ball on a bit of a wide pass out on the right-hand side. Was able to get it past the goalkeeper to make it a 1-0 score early on. And then the answer, the equalizer, off Zach Hammond's foot on a rebound in the 36th minute. That's where we are right now, 1-1 at the half.
Hammond gets the goal there, but I'm going to say again, Braxton Griffin gets credit for this tally. He does really nice work changing what he's doing offensively, getting out wide, taking a couple defenders with him, and winning a corner kick. Hamer takes the corner kick, and it lands right at the feet of Hammond, who does not miss from there, as they say.
Today's Seawolves broadcast is sponsored by Waterfront Coffee Company, conveniently located at 101 Main Street, next to the Edmonds Ferry Terminal and Brackett's Landing Beach. Waterfront Coffee Company features Italian-style coffee and pastries and local organic lunch items, including paninis and soups, plus everyone's favorite Snoqualmie ice cream. You can visit them online at waterfrontcoffee.com. waterfrontcoffeecompany.com or waterfrontcoffeeco.com. 1-1 the score at the half, and we will take a quick break here on this broadcast, and we have a special halftime presentation coming up here. If I can get to my halftime report. Thanks for being with us on this broadcast.